The Lantern Man. I went camping in Oregon with two friends last summer. We found a spot deep in the Deschutes National Forest, far from trails or people. We were after solitude, but what we found was something else entirely. The first night went smoothly, just beer, stories, and the crackling of the fire. But around 3 a.m. we heard something strange. A bell, not a church bell or a cowbell, but a small metallic chime. It echoed through the trees. I thought it was one of my friends messing around until we all realized none of us had moved. When we turned off the fire and sat in silence, we heard it again. Then footsteps. Not hurried, deliberate, crunching twigs, getting closer. I grabbed my flashlight, shined it into the woods, and saw nothing, at first. Then, just beyond the light's edge, something glowed faintly. An old-fashioned lantern swinging from side to side. It swayed as if held by someone, but we couldn't see a person. We shouted, thinking it might be another camper messing with us. The lantern paused, then started approaching. We bolted into our tents, zipped them, and held our breath. The footsteps circled our campsite. We saw the faint orange glow move between the tents. Then, it stopped right outside mine. I could hear breathing, ragged and wheezy. Then a whisper, "You don't belong here." I didn't sleep a second that night. By morning, the lantern was gone, but we found boot prints in the dirt, barefoot, human-like, but wrong. The toes were long, too long. We packed and left within minutes. Later, a local ranger we met at the trailhead told us we camped near an area locals avoid. He mentioned an old hermit who died out there in the 60s. He used to wander with a lantern. They say if you see his light, it means you were too close to his land, and not everyone makes it back. The Girl in the Fog. A few years ago, I went on a solo camping trip in the Blue Ridge Mountains. It was early fall, and the forest was wrapped in a damp, cold fog that clung to everything. By the second night, the silence started getting to me. Around midnight, I stepped outside my tent to relieve myself, and noticed something off. The fog was denser, and the woods were dead silent, not even insects. Then I saw her. A little girl, standing maybe 20 feet from my tent. She wore a white dress, soaked and dirty, and stared directly at me with wide, pale eyes. My first thought was, is she lost? I called out, asking if she needed help. She didn't respond, just stared. I walked a few steps toward her. That's when I noticed her feet weren't touching the ground. She was hovering, barely but enough to tell. I backed up slowly. She tilted her head, and then she vanished into the fog like mist. No sound, no footprints, nothing. The next morning, I found wet child-sized handprints all over the outside of my tent. When I reached a ranger station, I told them what happened. The older ranger nodded solemnly. He said I wasn't the first to report her. She'd been seen for decades, always alone, always just watching. No one knows who she is. Some think she died in a hiking accident years ago. Others say she never existed. I haven't camped alone since. The Howl Beneath the Earth. My cousin and I went camping near an abandoned fire tower in Pennsylvania last summer. We found a secluded spot near a dried-up riverbed and set up camp. Around 2 a.m., we were jolted awake by a deep, bone-rattling howl. It wasn't a coyote. It wasn't a wolf. It sounded wrong. Almost human. We sat up, listening. Then we heard it again. But this time, it came from beneath us. Like underground. We grabbed our flashlights and looked around. About 30 feet from our camp, in the riverbed, was a narrow hole. A sinkhole, maybe, or a collapsed den. We approached it, and sure enough, it was deep. And from it came a horrible stench, like rotting meat and wet earth. Then we heard it again. A howl. Closer this time. And heavy breathing. Whatever it was crawling up. We ran. Didn't grab anything. Just ran until we hit the road, then flagged down a car. A week later, I looked up news stories about the area. Apparently, several hikers had gone missing there over the years. Locals talk about a creature that lives underground, part man, part animal. No one's seen it clearly, but everyone who hears the howl remembers it forever. And so do I.